Good morning and welcome to Gulfstream today, and what is another phenomenal day here in Hollandale Beach as we wrap up our first week of the 4-day race week at the Royal Palm Meet. Brian Nadeau with you and Mike Walsh back with me from the Daily Racing Form. Happy to have you aboard on a 10-race Sunday card after a strong 11-race Saturday. We've got $150,000 in the gross jackpot guaranteed. Rainbow 6, that's going to be race 5 today. We'll get to a ticket a little bit later on the race. There we see it there. Thank you guys. And it grows quickly down here at Gulfstream Park. So already up to $150,000. It's a sequence today that I don't think you have to go too deep on. We'll take a look. My ticket is a little less than Ron Nicoletti's standard. But Mike, we appreciate you stopping by again today after a pretty solid day yesterday.
Yeah, it's good to have a race under my belt after about a 5-year layoff up here on the set. So things should be a lot easier today. I expect to move forward.
All right.
Get a better buyer number.
Second off the layoff today. We'll take a look at the early pick 5 here in my ticket. A key scratch, well, at least for me, a key scratch in the opener. I lost my long shot, Shady Lee, who I thought was loose. So it's a 40-50 ticket. That's an odd one. The single is in race 7. She's on the mission from the outside. Carlos David and Junior Alvarado back in town after winning a grade 1 in New York yesterday that we'll talk about as well. And then I have a 3x3x3 pick 3 to end it. Number 9, Authentic Heart, my new long shot play of the day after losing my pick in the opener. In race number 4, I go to Smiling Tuffles. It's been in very, very good form for Danny Hertak. And then in race 5, Soul of an Angel on top in there, and that will be our first replay of the day coming up. But we are on a firm turf course here in the opener, that 105 opener here. It's a 12-5 claimer. These are 3-year-old fillies or fillies and mares 4 and up that have never won 3. We go a mile on the turf. Mike, you go to the outside. Ball Lightning. Ronnie Spatz won one yesterday. Is very, very quietly had a strong start to 2022. Tactical speed here from the outside on the trainer change.
Yeah, I like the post position out there, and with Shadow Lee out, it does change the pace situation here. I had picked Shadow Lee second, same reason as you, maybe loose on the lead. I just think Ball Lightning's been facing better. It is a trainer change. I thought those races at Tampa, the horses he was meeting there for 16, were a little bit better than what he's facing here today. He came back and blew out well over this racetrack, and like I said, should trip out well stalking, which is a good way to go on this track. So he's my top pick. I'm surprised to see him up there in the board at 10-1. I doubt he's going to close at 10-1. And I thought he had mapped him up with the class of the field, and mapped him up actually finished in front of Ball Lightning when they met back at Monmouth Park last summer. That was a long time ago. Maybe it's kind of irrelevant, but I just think they class up in this field, so that was the way I went.
A Tampa Invader won the first yesterday on the turf as well. We're going to try to do a Ball Lightning, and I agree. I scratch in to map them up with Shady Lee scratching out, and as you kind of alluded to, lone speed, so it kind of muddles the pace a little bit. But yeah, map them up on the class drop. We get a little weight as well with the apprentice Elsa Morrison aboard here, and I think the drop, Timmy Hills had this horse, went to Kent Squeezy for one start, and Tim had this horse prior, daughter of Liam's Map, and did some good things with her. So I think those are the two in the opener. I also used Emma and I, who is tactical and could shake out as a controlling speed. Again, it's muddled a little bit now with the scratch of the 4, Shady Lee, and I think the lead is there for the taking. If Junior is on a send mission, he might be able to get it. We go to the main track for race 2. That kicks off our early pick 4. These are 12-5 claimers. These are 3-year-old fillies. Again, 4-year-olds and up, which have never won 2. And Mike mentioned it yesterday, and I wholeheartedly agree that the 3-year-old fillies now taking on the older horses, to me, a little bit of a disadvantage, a little bit this early in the year, a little bit more of an experience edge for the older horses.
Yeah, I mean, in most cases, that's the way I lean. I agree 100% there. And every once in a while, you'll see the 3-year-old win. We had one yesterday where the 3-year-old won, but there was only one older horse in the race, and that horse came in with poor form and still got up to finish a pretty close third, if I remember right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went with the older horses again here. I started with Shea and a Mission. It's the 8-5 favorite. I don't really want a short price on this horse. I just thought, this is where she belongs. She's finally back to the main track, which is probably what she really wants to do best, and I just think she's just better than these. Ellie's Reaston or however you want to say it.
I don't know how to say it.
Good. Then we'll both mess that one up. She's my second choice again. She's stretching out, and I know she's going from 62.50 to 12.5, but I don't think this field is that much tougher, and I just think she fits well in here and maybe a little bit of a price. But Shannon Mission is definitely the one to beat.
Yeah, without a doubt, she's going to be a very, very short price from a nice outside attack post. Junior Alvarado gets a board here, and Carlos David, who kind of, relatively slow for his standards. Again, championship meet, I think is poised to have a very, very good one here in the Royal Palm meet. We're outside. We drew well going this one-turn mile. And I think, you can argue the drop in class is a little dicey, but as Mike kind of said, this 4-year-old daughter of Mission Impassable is just probably where she's supposed to be. I went with number 3, Playa Inclusion in second. Take note that Misael Jaramillo is going to get a board here. Jose D'Angelo has this one, faced I guess better last time, but again, that was strict 3-year-olds off the claim. And the worry here is she didn't do any running, and we know how good Jose is off the claim. And then you kind of look at 2 back, that easy win, well, it was in the slop, so you kind of wonder if just maybe that was more the exception than the rule. I think underneath, as you can see, our pick 7-4-5 for Mike, and I've got 7-3-1. I think underneath is wide, wide open. I don't really think so on the top spot. Let's move on to race 3. We'll get to the Tapeta for the first time today. These are 12.5 maiden claimers, 3-year-olds and up. We go a mile in 70. We switch our exacta here. I'll just throw it to you first, Mike. Bye-bye David on top for you. Junior getting a board here.
Yeah, look, this horse has a little bit of hang in him. I get it, but he's dropping back for 12.5. The last time he ran for 12.5, he was the 2-1 favorite that day and finished second to a horse who kind of ran a huge race. So I just think this is where he belongs. Again, these races on the Tapeta, you got to work out a trip. But I think if he gets the trip, he's the one to beat. And Authentic Heart, we discussed this yesterday. Brian and I, the 21 on the morning line, don't expect to get 20-1 here, not moving into George Delgado's barn, not dropping down back to this level. I just think this horse is set up for a big race in this spot, and maybe 4-1.
Yeah, I would think that's about right. We were never getting 20, and I would probably sign up for 4 right about now. It's a huge trainer change, 30% into the Delgado barn, first time into the barn, so that's a huge deal. Chantel is here. They do good things together at 23% from a big sample, too. So, Authentic Heart comes out of what is, honestly, a pretty fast race for the level for a quarter, now into the Delgado barn. We're well drawn outside the main contenders. I would think this horse is poised to fire a very, very big shot. Certainly bye-bye David, not only on the class drop, but those were pretty fast races for the level for 16, and he wasn't embarrassed by any stretch of the imagination. And you see the figures, 54 buyers, and well beaten. So obviously it tells you, the winners were running pretty strong, solid figures down inside to the 1. Poetic Code, who's got some tactical speed. For Miguel Vasquez, we're going to save all the ground. We're going to be close and involved throughout. Might even get first run on Authentic Heart, but those are the 3 I use. And what is a pretty tough race, you're allowed to think, outside the box. And that's another reason why I think if Authentic Heart on the upgrade with the trainer change, he's not going to have to freak to be able to make a dent against a group like this. We'll go to race 4, one more before the Rainbow 6. We get back to the main track here. It's an optional claimer. It's 3-year-olds and up. Tag is 25. It's a 1X. We go sprinting 6 furlongs. Mike, number 3. Think about it for you. Probably going to need a little pace help in here.
Yeah, look, George Delgado, we just talked about him. He's got the 2 horses to beat in here, I guess, Inter Miami and Straight Shot. I think of the 2 straight shots, the tougher of the pair. Think about it, a bit of a workout play for me here. I'm tossing the last race altogether. You see the trouble line ducked into gap and then just got so far back, had no chance that day. You go back to the race before against Florida Breds, a good effort there, did get some pace off, was 27-1. But since this is his last start, he's come back and worked several times, and the last one I thought was really, really good. So I think he's sitting on a big race. If he can get the right trip, he's going to be a little bit of a price. And Straight Shot has also come back and worked really well since that easy win last time. He looks like he's moving back to his good form. You go back on his buyer numbers, and he just towers over the field. So if he's cycling back to that, they're not going to beat him. But that's the way I'm going. I went with the bigger price off the 2 horses that are training the best going into this race.
And the race that Think About It comes out of, Reinvestment Risk ran a 103 that day for Chad Brown and Seth Klarman, and he went up to New York and ran in the Grade 1 Carter yesterday. It was a very, very good second behind Speaker's Corner, who you probably all know by now, I think is arguably the best horse in the country. So and Milliken is a very, very nice horse who was coming off the long layoff with a lot of trouble in that race for Ian Wilkes. Those 2 horses would be 1 to 100 in this race.
Oh, absolutely. Milliken's going to be 4 to 5 at Keeneland today in a really tough allowance race.
Exactly.
So, absolutely. He had no chance in here, but with the trip he had, extra no chance.
Yeah, and a lot of class in that spot. I went to Smiling Tuffles with Danny Hertak, who very quietly had such a good championship meet. Now, this horse has a little good, bad into him, and if you look at the form, maybe the bad comes out today or the regression comes out today. But I just think he's been in such good form. He's coming out of live races. He's run fast. And I think the other thing, too, is I haven't really talked about the pace, but Inter Miami down inside is going to have to go. You know, straight shots not letting anyone get away early. Certainly Vinny Van Gogh pressing or chasing from the outside. Once again, Smiling Tuffles could fall into the right kind of trip in here. Your horse, Think About It, is going to get some pace to run into as well. So it's a 6-pack, but it's a tough race in the midst of the early pick 5 and 4. It's why I went 3 deep. Let's take our break here on Gulfstream today. 4 down. When we come back, 6 to go, and that means it's Rainbow 6 time. $150,000 in the gross jackpot guarantee. Stay tuned.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Ground ball first inside. Race. And a quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. It's last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Back to Gulfstream today. Brian and Mike with you on a beautiful Sunday here in Hollandale Beach. We've got 10 races. We've already gone through 4. That means there's 6 to go. And that means it's Rainbow 6 time, as I mentioned before the break. $150,000 in the gross jackpot guarantee. And here's my ticket here. I'm having Ronnie Nicoletti's 4320, and Ronnie will be back with us on Thursday. Looking forward to that. We'll spread here a little bit in race 5. The biggest spread is in race 6. Top pick Inevitable Me on top for Danny Gargan on the rise off a decent enough maiden claiming win last time. I do think it's a spread race. In race 7, number 3, Silvery Rill, second off the long layoff for Christophe Clement. And Junior Alvarado's poised to have a pretty big day here today. My best bet comes in race 8, Rhymes Like Dimes. We'll show a replay there off the claim for Safi Joseph. Winning Factor, another single for me in race 9. We've got a replay there coming up as well. And I think you want to talk about a class advantage. Winning Factor certainly has it. And then take note, too, in race 10, I go 3 deep. And take note that number 3, Lady Macarena, draws into the field with 13. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, 13, Lady Macarena draws into the field. And that's a big deal. Another first-time Delgado off California form for Michael McCarthy on a huge class drop. This is a horse that's going to be bet. You need to take note of that. She's going to draw in here and is a major player. 2160 there. We'll get back to the turf in race 5. It's a starter optional claimer. These are just 3-year-old fillies in here. We go a mile. I'll start it off, Mike, with number 7, Soul of an Angel. We're going to show our first replay on Gulfstream today. This is not last race. This is the race 2 back. Here she is down inside. The winner is the 7, My Filly Twirl, who came back and won the graded stakes for 3-year-old fillies on Florida Derby Day. You know, there's not a lot going on here, but I just thought, Mike, Soul of an Angel did pretty well here to hold on. She's kind of chasing. We know the class of My Filly Twirl. You know, you would think maybe she's a little outclassed in here. This is an optional claimer, but I thought she held pretty well against a field that was a lot better.
Yeah, and you see Lover Lots, who's probably going to be the favorite in here. is outside her and really is can't get by her here.
Yeah.
So if you like Lover Lots, you really, you can certainly make a case. She just got by her at the end, but you certainly make a case for Soul of an Angel.
Yeah, without a doubt. So I thought, and her form's a little muddled too because she comes out of the grade 3. Here Comes a Bride. Spenderella, if you're not in the loop, I'm sure you are by now, is by far, like by a month and a half, the best 3-year-old filly in the country. She just went to 3 for 3 yesterday in a graded stakes in Kentucky, and she was so awesome winning the Here Comes a Bride for Graham Motion. So Soul of an Angel comes out of the right race, and then that big run 2 back. You go down inside. Demogorgon wasn't really on my radar. Blinkers on for Brendan Walsh. Maybe a speed play here, Mike?
Yeah, definitely a pace edge.
Okay.
Definitely a hot trainer alert.
Yeah,
I mean, Brendan Walsh has been on fire the last week. He won at least a couple at Keeneland yesterday. And I just think this filly is loose all day on the lead. She's got Amicio on her, and that's his style to go anyway. So if she breaks, I could see her just having her own way and maybe long enough to hold on. She's got some races on here. You go 2 back to that race, a couple back there, and when she, kind of had a chase, take the lead, and then just got beat but held game. Got beat ahead by Lover Lots 3 starts back. So she certainly fits in here, and if she gets away with an easy lead, I think maybe she can carry her speed all the way.
And Lover Lot certainly figures in here. Both Mike and I have her second. But if there's a horse in today in this race that might be up against it just a little bit, you can see her running lines. You can see how she took advantage of Soul of an Angel last time, 2 back, I should say. And Beach Nut Trophy is so good, too, as well. Good second to her last time. She needs some flow help. I don't think she's going to get it today. Can she win? Absolutely. But she is a little bit up against it in terms of race flow.
Yeah, she has a little hang in her, I guess, if you look at those lines. But the last 1/8 of a mile, she just didn't kick on. And even the race she won 3 back when she beat Demogorgon, she didn't pull away after getting to the lead there. So that could be an issue with her at a short price. But, hard to ignore a horse that's just continues to get better and better, a lightly raced 3-year-old. And as the numbers start to go in the right direction, they tend to keep going in that direction.
Without a doubt. Race number 6 brings us to the late pick 5 today. 3-year-olds are 4 and up. Another one with the non-2L here. These are $6,250 claimers, 6 furlongs on the main track. We'll take a look at my late pick 5 ticket. It just mirrors the rainbow, $18. And again, don't forget now, I've got the back-to-back singles. Don't forget in race number 10, it's a very, very key draw in. That is the 13 Lady Macarena. First time Delgado. It's a 30% angle, 25% when Jose Morelos rides. So that is a big one. And don't overlook that drawing in. A lot of people sometimes do. So take note of that. But we'll get back to this one, Mike. And I thought it was a spread race. I went 4 deep in here. And oddly enough, I'll throw it to you first.
Yeah, you don't have my horse.
I don't have your horse. Vinny
That might
Dream.
be a good thing. Maybe that's good for you.
Yeah, off the claim for Mauricio Fuentes.
Yeah, and Mauricio Fuentes has a pretty good record off the claim. Looking at it, 25%, even though his mark this year, he's been in a bit of a slump. But I just think if you go to that race 2 back behind Converter, runs that race, he wins here.
Yes.
I like to turn back a little bit. I think he's going to come running late. Hopefully it'll be enough pace for him. Last time, just forget that race. I mean, the Hierro and Meteorito were in another time zone at the end, so had no chance in there. I'm just hoping he can get this horse. The only time he ran for 62.50, he ran a good second to Converter, and I think if he repeats that race, he could win here at a little bit of a price. I agree with you. This race is totally wide open.
Yeah.
I threw Valhalla Airbase in there, too. Another one getting some class relief. Going to the dirt for the first time, but he's trained well over the dirt. I've seen him work a couple of times here. Seems to handle it fine. And another horse who should be coming on late if this thing ties up at the end.
And the race Vinny Dream comes out of, as Mike mentioned, Hierro and Meteorito, if you remember, he kicked off the big the championship, closing day of championship meet when the Rainbow kicked off, and he won by, I think, 10 3/4 or something like that. So it's a solid race. It's a class race that he comes out of. I went to Inevitable Me, and there's a couple things going on here. First and foremost, it's Danny Gargan, who's just so good. I know this horse is a little slow on paper and on figures, and he's got to face winners today for the first time, but Danny got the win off the claim last time, and he's lightly raced. He's only run 2 times, and I think stepping up in class, this, Mike, is a type of race where normally, facing winners can kind of be a rude awakening. 6,250 isn't the most daunting rise in class.
No, he's certainly a major player in here, and this is just one of those races where you could spread 3 or 4, and it may not be enough.
Whiskey on his lips as well outside for Delgado. Tactical speed, the apprentice Franklin Calles is aboard, so that means we get a little weight allowance from some of these horses. As we both kind of said, it's a tough race to kick off the late pick 5 and to put it in the rainbow, and I think we both agree if there's a spread on the sequence, this is it. Let's get back to the turf in race 7, and it's our this is a late pick 4. Jump the gun a little bit. This is a maiden special weight here. These are for 3-year-old fillies. We go a tricky 7.5 on turf. Mike and I reversed the exact. Number 8, Lisa Marie. Again, Brendan Walsh, and I thought this filly getting back to the turf last time. I should say the first time in her career, and they tried it a few times at Woodbine and then 2 back right here at Gulfstream. I thought she ran pretty well last time.
Yeah, I mean, I just think this horse, maybe turf is what she wants. They tried to get her on turf a few times, got scratched off.
Yeah.
Once at Woodbine, and then here when she returned to action as a 3-year-old. She made a nice run in the middle of the race, kind of got turned back late. Wonka, the winner, Bill Martrain horse, was 3-5 that day. So I thought it was a good effort. Got a career best by her. Again, Brendan Walsh, we can't say it enough, how on a roll he's been. And, when a trainer gets on a roll or a rider gets on a roll, you best stick with him because it usually continues for a while. But I just think there's a lot to like about her in here. Look, Silvery Rill is definitely the one to beat. I think she needed that race last time. Her first start of her career was really good against better than these. And I could see her cycling back to that. It was a pretty good number for a 2-year-old. I see her going through that number here, and she's definitely, to me, the one to beat.
I went with her on top, but if you just look at the 2 horses, I mean, Lisa Marie is in a great spot here. She's tactical. She's drawn well. And as Mike mentioned, Brendan Walsh is just firing. He won 2 stakes here on Florida Derby Day, won his stakes up in Kentucky yesterday with Prevalence. He was so good coming back here at Gulfstream Park. We know him so well down here. I went Silvery Rill, and this is a big start for her because she kind of had a little bit of a reputation. She was so good on debut, as Mike alluded to, and then something obviously went amiss in her second start. Okay, yeah, she probably needed her race last time. I didn't think she was very good. I didn't think she did any running. I'm just hoping / expecting a big move forward today. Second off that elongated layoff. Junior is here. We're drawn well to be down inside. I don't want to say it's put up or shut up time, but she's got to take a big step forward to me today. Empress Ellie has been in very good form for Rohan Crichton. That form on the turf in her last 2 starts puts her in the mix here for a barn, Mike, that had a huge championship meet.
Yeah, she was my 3rd pick in here. The one thing I want to say about Silvery Rill, those 2 kind of like suspicious races after the good debut, both were over tracks or turf courses that had a little give in the ground. Yeah. She's going to get a firm course today. Maybe that was the reason. It's hard to say, but we'll see. I agree with you. This is put up or shut up time.
Yeah, and I think we'll know a lot more today to use going forward. Race 8 now, we kick off that late pick 3 here. It's another starter optional claimer. 3-year-olds here. We go a flat 1-turn mile. We'll take a look. We've both got Rhymes Like Dimes on top. This is actually, I want to make sure, this is my play of the day, and we're going to show 3 replays in a row to end the card here. Rhymes Like Dimes is the 2 horse, okay? And don't look for him because he's not in your picture yet. The order of the finish here is 3-1-4. Well, you can see where they all are on the track. But Rhymes Like Dimes, still not in your picture. No flow help whatsoever. Here he is going to have to try to loop this field or try to come from the back way out of it in a race where they ran around the track together. He's flying late. He actually almost goes out of the picture. I thought, Mike, this was a pretty good run. I'm thinking you did too. Now we go off the claim for Saffie Joseph Jr. It's a 21% angle. Junior is here. I think this group, I like the class rise too. It's an aggressive move. Now we're in a spot where we can't be claimed. I think we're poised for a pretty good run.
Yeah, I wish they kept the tape going because this horse galloped out with the leaders, caught them on the gallop out, which I always like to watch if I get a chance to. Yeah, she got just left with too much to do in that race and lost a lot of ground. She's not going to be that far back going a mile or today, or at least she better not be.
Yeah.
She also worked really well since switching over to Saffie Joseph's barn. You see that work on March 27th, 35-4. Not only was it almost a bullet at 3/8, but the gallop out, she had plenty of run on the gallop out too. So I just think she's sitting on She got her career best buyer in that race, even with the bad trip.
Right.
I think she's sitting on a big run. I made her the best bet of the day, my best bet of the day too. So she's carrying an awful lot of weight. And 4-1, maybe 2-1.
Yeah, I think so. We've got a scratch at Tang. Obviously, 11 points come out off the morning line. I go with number 7, Medico underneath. You've got this one in the mix as well. He's going to take on winners for the first time. But, boy, I thought he certainly broke through in a big bet way last time for Antonio Sano.
Yeah, I just think that, going to winners and coming off a big number like that, it's had a month or 4 weeks. But there's a potential bounce here. A lot of these horses that run – big races, winning maidens don't, come back and repeat that effort, facing winners for the first time.
Yeah.
And do you want him at a short price? Obviously, he can win in here. I actually threw in Grant Andrews for a price. This horse was in a lot of traffic last time. It doesn't show up in the trouble line here in the footnote, but it was his first race at a mile. I thought he ran pretty well. He's going to be a big price. I can see this horse move forward and maybe grabbing a piece at a price. I don't like him to beat rhymes like dimes unless something happens there with the favorite, or maybe the potential favorite getting a bad trip. But I think Grant Andrews is a good horse to throw in the mix.
Another horse that ran well with a negative flow last time was a winner, just wired the field and never stopped. The late double time in the 9th. It's back on the turf here. These are 3-year-olds or 4-year-olds and up, which has never won 3. The tag's 35,000. Again, a mile on the turf. We'll go down inside. Both Mike and I like winning factor. Let's take a look at a replay. This is the race 2 back. This is at Tampa. He's the 5 horse here. We're just going to show the start and around the first turn. This is a horse that wants to be tactical, and it was kind of taken away from him this day. He's in a sandwich here. He gets checked out of it a little bit. He doesn't want to be this far back, and he's going to check again here a little bit. It's just not, there's the winner, the 2 horse for Chad Brown and Klarovich, who's a very, very classy horse. This was just not the MO of where he wants to be. And then he's going to go wide as well, and it kind of never really gets any better from here. I thought he ran okay to be 4th. With a less than advantageous trip. Now we're down inside. Sean Bridgemahan was actually aboard him at Tampa this day, so he knows him a little bit now. I would think winning factor is going to get put in the race a little bit early. To me, Mike, those New York turf races, now we've got to get back to them, don't get me wrong, but the horses Jeremiah Englehart brought back down here this winter are here to fire on the turf. To me, he's got a big class edge against this group.
Yeah, well, that's why I picked him too. And, he ran well. He tried it to Peter last time. Wasn't a bad effort. No. But now he's back to where he really wants to be. And like you said, he's held his own with some pretty good horses. The horse Driftwood that was on the lead there that finished 2nd wound up coming back and winning his next start. And if you go a little further down in his form, 3 races, got 4 3/4 lengths in an allowance race at New York that was won by a tone. And the 3rd horse in there was Wolfie's Dynagos. We saw Wolfie's Dynagos come here and win. So I think this is the class of the field. It's all about the trip.
Yeah.
He's just got to get a clean trip. There's not a lot separating the top 3 or 4 horses in here. So, again, I can't repeat it enough. These kind of grass races, you got to have a little 4-leaf clover in your pocket when you back a horse, especially one that's probably not going to be loose on the lead, because he's got to kind of work his way out and get a clean run. But I think if winning factor gets a clean run, he's the best horse in here. Sterling Drive is my 2nd pick. Pretty logical. I mean, the last 2 starts, he's knocking on the door here. The horse that beat him last time, Catch That Party, ran far and away the best race of his career. Just kind of blew everybody away. This horse ran well enough to win that day, and the race before that, the 87 buyer behind Safi's Freedom Matters, who would be a big favorite in here.
Yeah, and talk about a barn that's had a huge championship meet. Amador Sanchez going to continue that, I'm sure, in the Royal Palm meet. And as Mike said, that huge 87 buyer, 2 back. Had a little trouble last time, too. Straight try for Mike and I, 1-5-2. We'll wrap it up in race 10. We're back on the Tapeta here. This is a $16,000 maiden claimer. We scratched the 2. We're going to Snappy 5 here, by the way. We scratched the 2, and that means the 13 Lady Macarena draws in. We're going to show the last replay here of Soupster. This is the race number 10 here, in another one where I just thought this one got fried chasing the early pace, and I don't really think that's the trip that they want here. This is going to be the 10 horse on the outside and is just chasing a pace. Black Swan is on the lead, okay? And Black Swan finished 6th, so you can kind of see how it fell apart. The horses that ran 1, 2, 3 in here were 6, 8, 3 early, so the race fell apart. Soupster's going to call it a day in a few strides here, and I think it was kind of predictable. If we get the trip we got 2 back, Mike, that stalking, more patient, settled trip, I think it's going to put him in a really, really big spot for that guy again, Amador Sanchez.
Yeah, and you go to that race 2 back. Alina the Lion won the race, won it with a 63 buyer. Yeah. Nobody in here is going to run a 63 buyer, so only got beat a length and a quarter. So, yes, if she runs back to that race, I actually thought she was going to be in my top pick in here because I did pick Lady Macarena on top, figuring, well, if she gets in, I really like her, but she's probably not going to get in. But she did get in. I don't like the post. Obviously, when you draw her in, you got that disadvantage going 5/8 on the Tapiti away on the outside. But other than that, there's a lot to like about her. The trainer changed. I mean, it's not a positive change there from Mike McCarthy to George Delgado. But George has had this horse here long enough to get him into his program. The works have been good, not fantastic, but they've been good enough. Should get a perfect stalking trip outside. Again, I'm sticking with the older horses in here, Lady Macarena and Soupster, over some of the 3-year-olds that are going to take money. And I think if she can just get away from the gate to overcome that outside post and get in good striking position, I think she's good enough to win. But those are my 2, Soupster and Lady Macarena.
I agree, and she's got the tactical speed to do it. I'll just really quickly mention Anna and Me. I thought was an iffy debut for Wesley Ward for 50. We're dropping to 16. That's got to be something in here. I would tread lightly. I wouldn't want a short price, but I think she makes a dent in here. That wraps up the 10-race card here on Sunday. But before we leave you, let's take a quick look at the lightning round. We've got a lot to cover here. First and foremost, I know a horse you picked yesterday, Mike, Sweet Honey, was super, super good. And I think you got 940 at the window, which was a little surprise because they sent it in late on Joe Orsino. Watch the explosion here in deep stretch.
Yeah, I was shocked at the price. I really wasn't paying attention because I was busy covering some races from New York, and I looked up, saw her winning, and then figured, okay, she's going to be $5.80 or $6, and to see her at pay $9. But, you know, she did what I thought she would do, move forward off her last start. Christophe Clement's left a bunch behind here, and we have Silvery Rill today, and I think he's going to be a big factor here on the turf, especially over the next several weeks. And tip of the hat there, the horse was well spotted and ran maybe the best race of her career yesterday.
I don't think we'll see her in an optional claimer anytime soon. She had stakes for him as a 3-year-old filly. Edgar Perez is down here now in South Florida. He doubled yesterday. If you're not familiar with him, he was doing some decent things, solid things in Chicago, Hawthorne, and Arlington. He's going to be down here for the summer. And One Identity was good yesterday, Mike, in a race I thought was loaded with speed, and she actually did all the dirty work herself.
Yeah, the jock did a good job on this one, too. He broke her out of there. He didn't panic when he got challenged early, and saved just enough horse to hold off a couple of challenges at the end. So tip of the hat to Eddie Pleaser Jr. for having the One Identity up to another big race, and then for Edgar Perez for getting the job done.
Yesterday at Santa Anita, our sister track, a huge, huge day. 7 stakes, 5 of them graded, none more important than the Santa Anita Derby, the grade 1 in Taiba, off just 1 maiden special weight, 6-furlong win on March 5th. Wins the Derby, and Mike, he did it impressively too. Here's Messier, his stablemate. You know, we all know how good he is. I mean, he drills him pretty good here.
Yeah, that's impressive, especially the way he beat Messier and the big gap back to the rest of them. The horse got a triple-digit buyer, 101, 102. Maybe should have even been a little bit higher than that. The caveat for me is 2 starts going into the Kentucky Derby. Look, he had only 1 start. Won the Santa Anita Derby, but that was against 5 horses. Now he's got to go into the Kentucky Derby and run with 19 other horses off of just 2 starts. He's going to be one of the favorites off of that race, I guess. I mean, I'm sure there are going to be other people that are going to be put off by the 2 starts like I am, but it's a lot to ask. But boy, this horse has a huge future. And Messier, look, don't give up on Messier because he got beat yesterday. That was a pretty good race for him too. He got a 98 buyer for that, and I think it was a good build up for him to move forward into the Derby as well.
I agree. You want to talk about talent, Speaker's Corner. You're probably sick of hearing me about him. Talk about him. I mean, he is absolutely awesome. And if you weren't in the loop, you are here. 114 buyer, winning the Grade 1 Carter in New York, coming out of a couple graded stakes wins here. Godolphin, Bill Mott, Jr. was up there, absolutely stunning. There's reinvestment risk, by the way, we already talked about coming out of a race here last time as well. Boy, this horse is good.
Yeah, not only did he win like that, but there was some thought yesterday, and I have to go back over the tapes and look, that the rail was the best part of the track yesterday. Speaker's Corner was like 5 wide down the backstretch, 3 wide coming into the stretch. So if there was a bias, he was against that too. So you can add a few more points to his final total. So super effort. The Met Mile, life is good. Flightline, Speaker's Corner, maybe the race of the, well, it would be the race of the year up to this point without a doubt if they all get there. I'm not so sure where those others are pointing, but I know one thing. Speaker's Corner is going to be there in the Met Mile, and I can't wait to be there to see him run on Belmont Day.
Yeah, absolutely awesome. Well, Life is Good, obviously, our Pegasus World Cup winner. And before we leave you, it's a cool send-off. You see it there, super send-off, the Grand National at Aintree. Sam Whaley Cohen. This is just a great story. Just before his 40th birthday, this is his final ride. At 50-1, he wins the Gold Cup with Noble Yates. 40 horses in this race, the 174th running. It's, you know, with the Cheltenham Gold Cup, which he won before, it's the most prestigious jump race in all of Europe. If you want to go out with a bang, that's a good way to do it. So congratulations to him. A heck of a way to send off to retirement. And I guess it's a heck of a way to send it upstairs to track announcer Pete Aiello for the changes today. I'll be back with you for a 10-pack. Mike, thanks a ton for the help this weekend, and we'll catch you soon. Best of luck, everyone.
Good luck, everybody.
The Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance is really the vehicle for the transition for our racehorses coming off the track into a second career and safe environment for these horses when they're done racing. I've been passionate about racehorses my whole life, animals in general, and without the TAA to provide that oversight, there would be a big void in terms of making sure that we have this ongoing safe environment for our off-the-track racehorses. I'm excited about the undertaking and excited about working with our board and our team at the TAA to continue the wonderful progress that has been made. So I'm very excited about what the future holds.